Victorian Britain saw itself as the peak of progress, a powerhouse of steam, steel, and empire. But look past the polished image, and you'll find a hidden world of workers whose jobs were so dangerous, so filthy, and so soul-crushing that most of us wouldn't last a single hour. These weren't glamorous careers. They were the kind of jobs that chewed people up and spat them out, only to be replaced by someone even more desperate. Imagine waking up before dawn to a world choked with coal smoke and fog. The air tastes like metal, and everything smells of sewage or ash. In this age, before health and safety regulations, danger was everywhere. Accidents were routine. Injury was expected, and for many, missing a day's work meant starvation. Even children weren't spared. Their small size made them perfect for crawling into tight spaces or reaching into active machinery. It was deadly, but it was just a part of life. Let's start with one of the most horrific jobs, the matchstick maker. Mostly young girls. They worked in factories filled with white phosphorus fumes. Dipping wooden sticks into chemicals seems innocent, but the phosphorus would slowly eat away at their faces. It caused a condition called phossy jaw. Their teeth would loosen, their gums would rot, and their jaws would literally glow in the dark from the necrosis. The smell was described as sickly sweet and impossible to escape. As soon as a girl showed symptoms, she was fired. Factory owners didn't want dying workers scaring off the healthy ones. It was a slow, agonizing death, all for a tiny wage. Then there were the chimney sweeps, often small boys bought or apprenticed into the trade. Their job was to climb up narrow, pitch-black chimneys caked with sticky soot. The passages were sometimes so tight they had to wriggle through, scraping their knees and elbows on the brick. Getting stuck was terrifyingly common, and many children suffocated in the darkness. Even if they made it out, the soot coated their lungs, leading to respiratory diseases that killed them young. Some even developed a specific form of cancer. No one asked if they were scared. The job simply had to be done. Victorian streets were far from clean, and that filth had to go somewhere. Enter the gong farmers and night soil collectors. While London slept, these workers emptied cesspits and outdoor toilets using only shovels and lanterns. The air in these pits was a toxic mix of methane and ammonia, so poisonous that many workers would pass out the moment they climbed down. Some never woke up, but without them, entire neighborhoods would have drowned in their own waste, and diseases like cholera and typhoid would have spread even faster. Speaking of disease, gravediggers faced their own set of grim hazards. Burials were constant, especially during epidemics. They handled bodies without any gloves or masks, breathing in dust from old remains as they dug new graves in overcrowded churchyards. Sometimes, the ground was so packed with old bones they had to break through them with shovels. They worked around the clock, hoping the soil wouldn't collapse on them. It didn't matter what the person had died from. The grave had to be dug. The Industrial Revolution was powered by textile mills, which employed thousands, but at a terrible cost. Mill workers, including women and children, endured 14-hour days in rooms filled with the deafening roar of machinery. Cotton fibers floated in the air like a thick fog, and every breath carried dust deep into their lungs, causing a condition known as mill fever. The machines themselves were the real killers. With no safety guards, a loose sleeve or a moment of distraction could mean getting dragged into gears that would tear through flesh in seconds. These accidents were so frequent they barely made the newspapers. The men who built Britain's celebrated railways were known as navvies. They carved canals, dug tunnels, and laid tracks from dawn till dusk, often knee-deep in mud or freezing water. Landslides, tunnel collapses, and explosions from blasting rock were constant threats. If the work itself didn't kill them, the harsh living conditions often did. Navvies lived in rough camps where disease and exhaustion were rampant. Behind every mile of track that celebrated British engineering lay the graves of the men who built it. And what about those who worked in the shadows? Rat catchers hunted vermin in infested basements and alleys, sometimes with only their bare hands. A single bite could lead to a deadly infection. Even worse were the sewer hunters. They navigated the labyrinthine tunnels beneath the city, wading through knee-high waste, searching for anything of value: coins, scrap metal, lost jewelry. Sometimes, sewer gases would ignite from their lanterns, causing massive explosions. Other times, sudden storms would flood the tunnels, sweeping them away in an instant. Even a skilled trade like pottery was deceptively deadly. In the ceramics districts, workers shaped clay while a fine powder of lead glaze filled the air. This lead dust settled on their skin, their clothes, and their food. It built up in their bodies, causing trembling hands, memory loss, and a slow, painful deterioration of the nervous system. Many potters died young, their skilled profession offering no protection from the poison they breathed every day. One of the grimmest jobs of all belonged to the arsenic workers. In the Victorian era, arsenic was everywhere in bright green wallpapers, candles, and even cosmetics. Factory workers who produced these pigments ground and mixed a lethal powder all day long. The dust turned their skin green, burned their eyes, and caused their hair and teeth to fall out. Many died without ever knowing their job was slowly killing them. The public loved their vibrant green decor, completely unaware of the human cost. Then there were the pure finders, usually elderly women, who collected dog droppings from the streets. This foul material, known as pure, was sold to tanners for use in leather processing. They wandered the alleys with buckets, their survival dependent on how much filth they could gather. The risk of disease was high, but the greater danger was simple starvation. Even the romanticized job of a lamplighter was perilous. They climbed ladders hundreds of times a day to light and maintain the city's gas lamps. The lamps could flare up without warning, and the constant inhalation of gas fumes caused long-term health problems. A fall from a ladder was often fatal. Each of these jobs tells a story the Victorians rarely spoke aloud. Survival was a privilege. People didn't choose this work because they were brave. They chose it because hunger was an even greater threat. The Victorian world was built on the backs of these invisible laborers, the children in chimneys, the women in match factories, the men in tunnels. They fueled the factories, built the cities, and illuminated the streets, but received little in return except meager wages and an early grave. Their stories might seem distant, but they shaped the world we live in today. They serve as a powerful reminder that progress without protection for the people who make it happen is never really progress at all. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the past insightful, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories hidden in history.